DJ Глобаша.
Hello. That was weird. Wasn't planning on going live, but I've been keeping an eye on JLR because I've been doing my Defending Dylan series on the Smooth Criminal Podcast channel. We're actually simulcast on both Smooth Criminal Podcast and Tasmania Calling today because, once again, true crime and Tasmania collide. Last week we had a witness in the Alex Murdaugh trial. I just remember her as Paralegal Griswold. I mean, how could you forget that name? Comparing Alec to a Tasmanian Devil. And there goes Sunny. If anyone who's watching and they love Sunny, there she goes. Oh, she's going out into her enclosure. I think. So does she. She's not sure. She's hovering. Do I stay or do I go? We'll just watch Sunny's bum while some people roll in. There are people watching. Say good day. We're a friendly community here. Very friendly. There's a little thing on my screen that's going to bug me. Anywho, so I've been keeping an eye on JLR and other channels who continue to go after Dylan, one of the surviving housemates in the Idaho murders. And I always just a little check in to see what his latest video is, and was walking back from the beach and thought, let's whack it on and see what it's talking about. Well, I only listened to a couple of minutes and went, no, save it, react to it when you get home because Time Lord, hello, Groover, g'day. How are you, mate? I'm in my beach attire too, sorry, everybody. I'm not frocked up for the occasion, although I do like my little beachy numbers. But, yeah, I was like, well, what's going on here? I'm going to react to this because, hey, Clancy, how are you? You snuck in. You're up the top. Good to see you, Clancy. Another Tasmania reference. Now we're in the Idaho murders. True, we are talking about a creator who can't seem to stop harassing, I think, Dylan online, but I mean, you know, people are talking about Brian Koberger being obsessed and a stalker. Well, JLR's doing a pretty good effort of that. I mean, you just have to go to his channel and see how many videos he puts up about her. In fact, no, I'll show you that later. Let's cut straight to the chase. So I'm listening to him while I'm walking on the beach thinking, listen to the ocean. You doing okay in the heat? Yeah, it was meant to be hot here today, but it's been a bit overcast, and we actually had some rain. So, but I mean, it's not cold. I went for a swim. It's 11:17 at night here in Texas, and I just got back from the gas station. Get me a pack of Levi Garrett. What if you don't know what that is? It's chewing. Well, I know what chewing tobacco is because I went to school in Kansas City, Missouri in the mid-'80s. And a lot of the boys were into the chewing tobacco, but I didn't ever learn the brands. I mean, I might have known dudes who were into Levi Garrett. I don't know. Now, we are on two different channels as well, so because there's a Tasmania reference. So we're also live on Tasmania Calling. Lily Eve 420, it's Skyzy. I love you and your name. Even the 420 reference. Good to see you. I've missed you, Skyzy. I mean, Lily. Yeah, I heard. I had people in my live that I did with Finn earlier. We did an episode of Batshit and had a fight in the middle of it. But a lot of people were saying, yeah, like Francesca, who's in Melbourne, was saying it was going to be hot there today. I missed you. But I love the name Lily. I've got a niece, Lily, and she spells it the same way. So very happy with your new name, Lily Eve 420. So I worked on JLR, had a bit of a listen and went, no, save it, get home, react to it because, yeah, how bizarre. We've had a Tasmania reference in the Alex Murdaugh trial in court. Paralegal Griswold said they used to call Alex the Tasmanian Devil, and boy, did I get upset about that. And now JLR, and the reason I stopped it is because he's in a bookshop. I don't know if any of you have seen him doing the bright lights. If not, we'll have a look at that in a minute. He keeps putting himself in random locations and then somehow connecting it to the Idaho 4 murders. So I heard him say he's in Walmart in the book section. I glanced at my phone and he's holding a book. I'll bring him up. Here he is, little weirdo. Jane Harper, The Survivors. And I went, you've got to be kidding me. This is getting redonkulous. What in the Kentucky Fried Chicken is going on here? Jane Harper's book, The Survivors, is set in Tasmania. What are the odds, all right? Now, he's obviously grabbed it because Dylan is one of the surviving housemates, and I'm sure he will enlighten us on, how that book jumped out at him for that very reason. But how weird, guys. Jane Harper was born in England, but she grew up in Victoria, in the state of Victoria. And this book that she wrote, The Survivors, is set in Tasmania. Nobody even thought we were a real place. When I first came to YouTube back in the day, I was on JS for Justice's panel, and Oni was on there too. I know, the great characters, the upstanding characters of YouTube days gone by. And Jay told Oni I was from Tasmania, and he said, I thought that place was made up. And she said, so did I when I first met Tori. Yeah, be quiet, mainlander. Behave yourself. What's the price tag on it? $6.97. Well, you've grabbed yourself a bargain, JLR. But yeah, so that I suspect. I think I heard enough of his ranting to know that that's a correlation because, they are the surviving housemates. And Dylan, his current obsession, is one of them. But I just thought this is too weird. In a week, we've had a Tasmanian reference during the Alex Murdaugh trial. Like, did you think that was going to happen? I didn't. And now we've got JLR Investigates, who has a huge following, and people haven't bothered to actually check out his track record, not just on YouTube, but in the courts of the United States of America. Check out his Wikipedia page. It's all there, groovers. He's getting a lot of support. People think he's onto it, he's a hard worker. He's out there pounding the streets for justice. It's unbelievable. Like, just reading his comments, and we will have a look at some of the comments under this video too, because they're always fascinating, just to realize how many people are on YouTube that I'm never going to attract because they don't like reasonable people, clearly. Yeah, well, don't forget too, at one point Australia was made up and we're all just actors, Time Lord. So let's react to JLR, who has bushier eyebrows than Brian Koberger, just saying. Let's see what he has to say. I nearly, honestly, if I'd been driving, I would have run off the road. I was walking and I might have busted one of my double plugger thongs, although they're not double pluggers. Only Aussies will get that reference. I know. Look, brace yourself, Lily Eve. We're going into the JLR Cave of Doom. Put on your stack hats, everyone. You're going to need them. Here we go.
The book section of Walmart and looking for a book to stimulate my mind.
Oh, really? Maybe the Kama Sutra will stimulate your mind. It'll stimulate something else. Oh, God, no, let's not go there. I still love the media hat. I'm going to get a cap made up that says media, and then everyone will know I'm media. You idiot. It takes a little bit more than that to get credentials. But anyway, he's in the book section at Walmart looking for a book to stimulate his mind. And if he buys this, I'm going to throw up knowing he's going to be reading a book set on my beautiful island. Yes, it's mine. I own it. It's going to be tragic. Anyway, let's see if he does actually spend $6.97 on this book.
And
I think Jane Harper would be a bit upset with that price tag. Look how big it is. So it looks like something from 1957 as well. Anyway, let's go.
keep my brain going, and I found a book called The Survivors. And when I saw this book, I was instantly reminded of the Moscow, Idaho case. Right?
Of course he is, because he's obsessed with it. Like, to be honest, if I saw that book in a bookshop, that probably wouldn't be my first thought. He's going to be incredibly disappointed when he delves into the survivors because, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. It has got a thing across the top of the book that says, even the deepest secrets rise to the surface. But if he's expecting this to be, a tell-all about the Idaho murders, he's going to be very upset because it's set on the Tasmanian coast and in a fictitious town called Evelyn Bay. It involves guys called Kieran and Finn, and then a body is discovered on the beach, and there's a sunken wreck, a missing girl, and questions that have never been washed away. How did I lose half of my audience? You saw JLR on the screen? I'm hoping that's the reason. God damn it. I got excited there for a minute. I was like, 10 people watching? You little beauty. Now I have 4. Guys, the 4 of you need to hit the thumbs up, please, because we need to have 50% of the people watching to hit the algorithm. So whether you're on the Tasmania Calling channel or the Smooth Criminal channel, please hit the thumbs up. Let's get us back on the algorithm. I'm funny, for God's sake, and I'm taking the piss out of JLR. What more do you want in the middle of the night if you live in America than this? Seriously. Here we go.
Right? Brian Kohlberger arrested in connection.
That's another thing. This fuckwit says Brian Kohlberger all the time. It's Kohlberger, you fuckface. Kohlberger. There's no L in there. It's Kohlberger. Brian Kohlberger. I'm media reporting, and I don't even know the name of the suspect. Fuck me dead. This guy gets, I don't even know how many people have watched this video. We'll have a look when I finish reacting to it. It's only 6 minutes of torture, guys. Come on. We can do this. Thank you, Time Lord. He gets like tens of thousands of people watching his shit, and he can't say Brian Kohlberger. Okay.
With the brutal stabbings of 4 innocent college students during the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. The survivors. Now, when I hear the survivors, what do I think about? Well, I think about Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk.
Yes, because you're obsessed with Dylan in particular. I don't use her full name here. I use the name Dylan just so people know when I'm defending Dylan, what I'm talking about. But in Australian media, their names still aren't published and their faces are blurred out in any photos they use. But he's saying her name constantly. In fact, we'll have a look at his channel in a minute and all the videos he's been doing about Dylan in the last week or 2. It's actually obsessive and weird.
2 of the surviving roommates in the home. But while I was in here looking for books, I'm also...
Hey, there's a little book there called Piggy. He could get that for Bullhorn Betty. I'm going to get struck, aren't I? Shit. Well, it'll be worth it. Piggy, over there. Bit more expensive. Oh, look, might be a DVD or something. It's nearly $10. Holy shit. Stick with your $6.97 Jane Harper book, The Survivors, set in Tasmania, Australia. Hey, Kylie. This guy is one of the twat muffins of YouTube who is obsessed with the surviving housemate Dylan from the Idaho murders. And the reason I'm reacting to him is because he is now the second person to reference Tasmania in the US. Last week in the Alex Murdaugh trial, Alex Murdaugh was described or nicknamed the Tasmanian Devil by his staff. And now we've got JLR Investigates slinking around the Walmart book section, and he's got a book in his hand by Jane Harper called The Survivors, and he's saying he grabbed it because of his obsession, essentially, with Dylan in particular. But weirdly, cuz it's a book that's set in Tasmania. What in the KFC is going on? Twat muffin. I'm trying to tone it down a little because the word I really want to call him in Australia, no one would bat an eyelash, but in America and on YouTube, can't really use it without getting penalised big time. Mind you, truth is a defence when it comes to slander and defamation. So, you know, I'm not scared about being sued. I can easily defend myself using that colourful word. But anyway, let's take it back. Take it away, twat muffin.
Brainstorming scenarios with Brian Kohlberger's case, right?
Take a shot every time he says Kohlberger. It's Kohlberger, JLR. You get 38,000 views on some of your videos and you have said Kohlberger constantly. And everyone's like, my God, you work so hard. Thanks for putting all the effort in. Thanks for being our voice on the streets, our feet on the ground. You're amazing. It's Kohlberger. Twat muffin.
He's going to have future court proceedings. And the big question is, will he go to trial or not? And I'm assuming at this point he probably will go to trial unless the process
looks pretty likely, considering he says he wants to be exonerated. His defense lawyer is saying he will be exonerated and there's a preliminary hearing set. Yeah, a trial's looking likely. Fuckface.
prosecution and the defense come up with a plea bargain, maybe to take the DP off the table.
Wait, double penetration's on the table? DP. Oh, death penalty. Okay. All right. Calm down. We don't have the death penalty here. It's not an obvious go-to when you hear DP for an Aussie. There's something else that I just mentioned that's known as DP as well, and that's where my brain went, and that weirdo took me there. What am I doing with my life? Help. So now he knows. Well, he doesn't yet, but if he reads his book, he will. Although it is set in a fictitious town, so, you know. But it just bugs me that, well, it's amusing me that Tasmania, once thought to be an imaginary place, a bit like Brigadoon, keeps popping up week after week. It's cracking me up, actually. I'm just mortified that it's JLR on this occasion. I'm actually happier with Alex Murdaugh being called the Tasmanian Devil than I am knowing that he's holding a book in his hands about the island that I love so much. My island home. My island home. You too with the DP. I mean, look, anyone watching the replay, if you ran off the road when I said double penetration, in Australia, we don't have the death penalty. We don't, like, DP's not in our verbiage, vocabularies, except for double penetration. That's the truth of the matter. Don't hate me, hate the language. But every time he says DP, just go death penalty. You don't want him saying the other DP. Don't visualize it. Just don't.
You know what the DP stands for.
We do. Oh, shit, we sure do. You know what the DP stands for? Yeah, we do, JLR. Double penetration. I can say that looking at my camera. I can't say it looking at your face. I can't work out what he looks like. I can't believe there's possibly a book about Tasmania in his house now. Stop it, everyone. Stop it. What are you doing, Time Lord? Hi, pie in the sky. Well, I'm happy for it to stay fictitious, to be honest. I mean, apparently we are on the, I don't know whose the shit list it is to be, you know, as a target for a nuclear bomb. But to be honest, I'd rather it hit Tasmania because we'd all just go instantly. I don't want to be one of those people that survives it and then is living underground for 20 years. And then when I come out, the planet's munted and there's no food and I just wither away and die in the heat. I'd rather just like nuke us. But really, I don't think they're going to bother. There's 500,000 people here. It's not the best epicenter to choose, but I'm not that I'm going to have any say in it. Whew. Okay, back to the double penetration. I mean, the death penalty. DP, death penalty, death penalty, death penalty.
Maybe take that off the table and then Brian pleads guilty. But if the prosecution has that DP hanging,
take a shot. Take a shot for Brian Kohlberger. Take a shot for double penetration. My cup has gone cold.
over Brian Kohlberger's head and saying that he's not going to stop, the prosecutor's going to pursue the DP. Now I wonder about Brian Kohlberger going to trial.
Those dirty prosecutors are after the DP. I knew they would be. Oh, yes. Dirty prosecutors. They love a bit of double penetration. If you DP, I'll drop a map of Tassie. I know. I was waiting for the map of Tassie reference. In fact, what took you so long, Time Lord? Jesus. Lift your game, mate. I do enjoy reacting to him, but at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, I can't believe this is connected to a case where 4 kids were murdered brutally. But seriously, if you can't have a laugh in the OG true crime world, you're screwed. So anyway, he's grabbing the book. He's buying the book. There's a picture even on the book of a Tasmanian beach. He's got Tasmania in his hands. I need therapy. You were biding your time. Nice one. Come back, pie this guy. Do people just drop in and they go, oh, she's weird, and they leave? What? Why? If I found a YouTube creator by accident and they were laughing and having fun, I'd be like, I'm watching this person. There's enough screaming and yelling and bitching going on out there. Come on. What's wrong with having a laugh at Jonathan Lee Rich's expense? I mean, honestly, who doesn't? Oh, that's right. The hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of people who think he's awesome. We'll have a look at the comments after this shortly. I might even think of something to write in his comments. Please don't be inspired to visit Tasmania after reading this book, because we'll all eat you and you'll have to DP a couple of Tasmanian devils. Oh, wait, Alex Murdaugh, actually, before we let you off the island. I didn't wish that on him. I have a vivid imagination. All right, here we go.
Survivors, right?
The survivors.
A witness, right? She is a witness.
She's a witness, okay.
In this case.
She's a witness to him leaving the house, whoever he was, if it is even Brian Kohlberger. If it was Brian Kohlberger, she's a witness, but she wasn't a witness to anything else. That was it. This guy, this idiot, thinks, that she almost, didn't quite, I don't think he said she's participated, but he said she's complicit, essentially.
According to the affidavit of probable cause.
The affidavit cause. Yeah, that's a good read too. He likes his reading. What was the affidavit cause? Okay. Sorry, JLR. I'm going to take you seriously now. I will, I promise. I won't be able. I'm not even 2 minutes in. It's only a 6-minute video. I'm about to wet my pants. I think I shall leave him a comment from the island. Maybe I'll leave the DP one just to be random. I'm like, oh, DP means death penalty. Sorry, I live in Tasmania where we don't have it. I thought you were talking double penetration. That's what I'm going to leave under his video. Why the hell not? Okay, let's go.
She is known as DM, a surviving witness.
Why did you say DM? You've said her name 80,000 times. It's only nice people on YouTube that are calling her DM, like they did in what was it? What did he call the affidavit cause? The probable cause affidavit. They call it DM as well. It's only you who keeps saying her name repeatedly.
Now the question is, if Brian does go to trial, will the prosecution bring Dylan Mortensen on the stand as a witness?
Yeah, I'd say so, considering they're trying to show that she identifies the dude walking down the hallway. I mean, that's the only reason they had to include that stuff in the probable cause affidavit. And it said frozen shock phase. If I hear one more person saying she was frozen in fear for 8 hours, there's a channel I used to follow, largely because I found her entertaining. Now I just think she's hideous. But she was telling her subscribers that, you know, how could you stand there frozen in shock for 8 hours or in fear for 8 hours and not call the cops? And I'm like, where does it say that? How has this been twisted? I wish to God that had said in quotes frozen on the spot, because I think that is the most logical explanation. She just was like, oh shit, there's a dude leaving the house. God knows where he's been or who he's been with. I don't want to engage with him at 4 a.m. I'm just going to and hope he doesn't notice me and walks on by. How did frozen shock phase turn into frozen in fear for 8 hours on the spot? Fuck me, Ted. Honestly, it's a horrible enough story. Like, this poor girl is just being victimized over and over again, and she's already, I would imagine, unbelievably traumatized from all of this. Hey, Kanga Blue. Welcome. That's Jonathan Lee Richards holding a book that's set in Tasmania, Kanga Blue. I can't believe it. Last week in the Alex Murdaugh trial, the paralegal with the surname Griswold said his nickname at the office was the Tasmanian Devil. I did nearly run off the road. And then I'm walking back from the beach and put this twerp on because I like to see what he's up to. I enjoy calling him out because he's awful. He's absolutely crucifying Dylan. And I'm all about defending her. I got called disgusting, by the way, for defending Dylan. Disgusting. What about the tens of thousands of people that are just crucifying her endlessly, day in, day out? They're all okay, I guess. They're saying some of them are saying she was part of it, like she participated in the murders. And I get called disgusting defending her. This YouTube world is so warped. What am I fucking doing here? What am I doing with my life? I'm sitting in my house. I've just been at the beach. I'm sitting in my house reacting to this twat muffin. How did I get here? Yeah, frozen on the spot. No, frozen for 8 hours. It's just got like Chinese whispers. They can't call it Chinese whispers now. There's probably going to be someone will get offended. But that's what we called it as kids, Chinese whispers. But on YouTube, it's just out of control. All right, back to this one. So, yes, he's holding a book by Jane Harper, who grew up in the Australian state of Victoria, although it is actually set in Tasmania. He's in Walmart in the book section, fuck knows where, Fucksville nowhere probably, holding a book that's set where I live. Stop it, YouTube. Why are you doing this to me? Tasmanians, we love being ignored. Can you just move on? Seriously. We're getting a lot of PR at the moment and it's not good. It's not good in a murder trial and now this idiot. Thanks. Thank you, YouTube.
Now, I've already made some videos assuming that's true. But
he's made about 30,000 videos of this poor girl, I might add. We'll have a look at that in a minute too.
Say the prosecution doesn't. Brian Kohlberger has the right, the Sixth
Kohlberger, take a shot.
Amendment right to confront witnesses with this case. It's the Constitution clearly says it. Sixth Amendment right to confront a witness.
To confront a witness. Let me just read out the Sixth Amendment, just so we're all on the same wording, okay? The Sixth Amendment guarantees the rights of criminal defendants, including the right to a public trial without unnecessary delay, the right to a lawyer, the right to an impartial jury, and the right to know who your accusers are and the nature of the charges and evidence against you. I didn't see anything about a right to confront. Hang on a second. Let's just listen again.
He says it. Sixth Amendment.
He said it literally says it. I've literally just read it, and it literally does not say that. The Sixth Amendment guarantees the rights of criminal... Actually, hang on. That's not the wording. Wait. I'll get the exact wording. Straight from the Constitution, motherfuckers. Yeah, I've been talking about that too, the tiny bit we know. And then they're all ignoring the tiny little bit we do know too. Yes, he is, Kanga. That's why it jumped out at him. He was looking for something to keep himself intellectually stimulated, and he couldn't help but notice a book called The Survivors. And like I said earlier, and I read out the précis of the book, he's going to be very disappointed because it's about two brothers and a shipwreck and a dead body washed up on a beach. But anyway, the US Constitution. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. To be confronted with the witnesses against him. It's not saying it does actually say the word confront in there, but it's not saying he has the right to confront them. It says that they have the right to be confronted with the witnesses against him. JLR, you listening? To have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favour and to have the assistance of counsel for his defence. What did he say the Constitution literally says?
The Constitution clearly says it. Sixth Amendment right to confront a witness.
It actually says in the Sixth Amendment that the accused shall enjoy the right to be confronted with the witnesses against him. I mean, look, hey, Francesca, oh, hell to the yes. Hell to the yes. No, it's not the First Amendment. No, the Sixth Amendment is about the judicial process. This dude must have hidden the gotten gains he went to jail for. He's moneyed up and travelling. I know. Well, he's making money on YouTube. We'll have another look at his figures shortly. He must have stacks. Well, he's getting funded. I mean, he's not that rich. He's buying a book about Tasmania for $6.97 in Walmart. So, is he that rich? You tell me.
Dylan Mortensen is a witness for sure. This is a little bit of information about the...
He's so smart because we didn't work that out reading the probable cause affidavit that she's a witness for sure. Look how long it took me to get... How long have I been live? 30 minutes. And we're only 2 minutes and 2.5 minutes into his video because he just keeps every sentence that cometh out of his moutheth. Hi, Miss Kay. Good to see you again. Every sentence that comes out of his mouth, I'm like, wrong. No, it's Coburger. Will he buy this book? That's what I want to know. Is a little piece of Tasmania going to go home with him tonight? Let's see.
The Sixth Amendment. The right to confront witness.
Oh, okay. What's this? What's he reading this from? The Cornell Law School. Okay, yeah. So it probably does go a little bit broader than what I'm saying. But when he said it literally said that in the Constitution, it doesn't. It doesn't say they literally have the right to confront. It doesn't literally say they have the right to confront a witness. It literally says to be confronted with the witnesses against him. I'm being pedantic. I mean, seriously. Of course he's not going to buy it. Oh, look at him in his media top and T-shirt. He kind of reminds me of a penis. Oh, this expression, he sort of looks like a little penis. You reckon? Okay, let's keep going.
According to Cornell Law School, the Sixth Amendment provides that a person accused of a crime has the right to confront a witness against him or her in a criminal action. This includes the right to be present at the trial, as well as the right to cross-examine the prosecution's witness.
Yeah, we learned this in legal studies in grade 3, for God's sake. 8-year-olds know this shit.
Sixth Amendment, right to confront witness.
It's not actually called that. It's just called the Sixth Amendment. But whatever.
Now, Brian doesn't have to bring Dylan Mortensen on the stand. I'm not.
He's not going to. The prosecution are, you fuckwit. And his lawyers are definitely going to cross-examine her. She's the only positive ID we know about. Well, she's the only person who ID'd somebody who matches his description that we know about so far. It's not his call whether he calls her. The prosecution will be calling her. What I'm wondering is whether they'll call her for the preliminary hearing as well. Like, I probably wouldn't as a prosecutor because she's not needed at that. There's already enough evidence and they're going to get up on that hearing anyway. I don't think I'd probably be keen to sort of re-traumatize her twice. And I'd like her to also only testify once so that the defense aren't constantly saying, you know, that's inconsistent with what you said at the preliminary hearing. So I wouldn't call her for that. And they don't need to, in my opinion. But Brian, no, we don't have a sixth. I mean, there'll be something in our constitution that's paragraph 6, but I can't remember what it is. Do you want me to have a look? About forming a new state. Chapter 6, new states. That'd be kind of cool. Tasmania should secede from the mainland and just float away. Cut the cord. See ya. But you have to get Parliament's permission. You can also form new states. Interesting. So that's we don't have amendments. I mean, our constitution can be amended, but we don't have amendments like as they're stated in the US version. Well, their constitution.
Sure, if Brian Kohlberger has the right to bring Bethany Funk on the stand. I say that because
he only gets to, the whole thing with confront is that he gets to cross-examine the witnesses that are called by the other side. He doesn't, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are trials where there are people that are witnesses for both prosecution and defense. But generally speaking, people like the surviving roommates are going to be prosecution witnesses. So, yeah, I think he's twisting this just because of the Sixth Amendment. I think he's saying he can call whoever he wants and confront them because she's a witness. But I don't think it works that way. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's definitely not how it works here. You want to know the 6th chapter? You got it. JLR State. Was it embezzlement? I read out his wiki page the other night. I thought it was more of it was a money crime for sure. The people that he's sued. It's fucking crazy. It's such a good read. I mean, just have a look at who he's sued. He's even sued, he's sued all survivors of the Holocaust, the Eiffel Tower, the Appalachian Trail. He was incarcerated for wire fraud. Yeah. Anyway, it's a great read. Oh, he is out there in not a fun way at all. Exactly. He does have a wiki page. Yes, it's a good read. I thoroughly recommend it. Just not now while I'm live. Have a look at it later. Or have a look at me going through it the other day when I reacted to him.
Affidavit of probable cause says that Bethany was downstairs. She didn't see Brian Kohlberger like Dylan Mortensen did. So
allegedly. We don't know for sure it was Brian, but, just talk about him like he's absolutely... This is what bugs me. So many channels, the way they talk about it is like he's already convicted. And yet they'll be like, innocent until proven guilty any chance they get, especially if it's about them, right? Unless they're talking about somebody else. And then that person is spoken about. Like, you have to use the word allegedly when you're a criminal lawyer until there's a trial and a verdict. You can't just say she identified Brian Kohlberger. She identified someone who looked like him, which helped the cops in terms of matching up the Elantra and so on. but we don't know for a fact that it was Brian Koberger. And you can't on the one hand say, well, how would she be able to identify him if he was wearing a mask? I mean, people are talking about it like he's wearing a Friday the 13th mask too. It says a mask covering his nose and mouth. It could have been a COVID mask, you know. It could have been that basic. Or he could have pulled his turtleneck up over his nose. But there are people talking about like he's wearing a full-on scream mask, and they're going, yeah, right, why wouldn't you call the cops if someone's walking out the corridor with a scream mask on? I'm like, where did that come from? The affidavit, which I had to close out of before, but the affidavit literally says face, nose and mouth covered by a mask. Does he have to be a Brian with a friggin' Y? Let me get it up again. Because I like being able to read straight from the affidavit. Just, you know, if I'm on one of my little rants, God forbid, I use the wrong wordage. I'm very pedantic about this because we talk about the facts here. But, yeah, everyone's going, yeah, right, you wouldn't freak out if you saw some guy in a mask. I wouldn't freak out if I saw someone in a COVID mask. Otherwise, I'd be freaking out every 5 minutes, going about my day. Saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. Ooh. I'd be freaking out, man. I'd be terrified too. Crazy. Imagine what the other... Well, let's go to Times Square and see what New Yorkers think of him in a minute. She did. She identified bushy eyebrows. But speaking of, have you noticed? Is it a coincidence? Check out the eyebrows of JLR. They are truly bushy. Yes, 2,600 lawsuits since 2006. He is special. It wasn't actually snowing at the time of the murders, but it snowed not long after, because that was relevant to the the glove that everyone was saying that Chris McDonough, you know, he found it, but he took a photo of it and it was actually resting on top of snow, and everyone's like, there wasn't snow at the time of the murders. So if it was left after the murders, it would have been under snow once the snow snowed. But it was definitely cold, like wearing a balaclava, well, like a ski balaclava, not I'm about to rob a store one. Wouldn't be that weird in that kind of weather, for sure. Does he buy the book? Let's see.
I don't think Bethany. I don't think Brian has the Sixth Amendment right to bring Bethany on the stand.
Well, okay. It's usually just defense lawyers cross-examining these witnesses, mate. It's pretty straightforward. Does he actually watch trials other than his own?
But for sure, he has the right to bring Dylan Mortensen. Will he?
No, you're getting it wrong, mate. Oh, my God, I can't believe I didn't know this is what he was going to talk about. If there are witnesses, the right to confront means that he can cross-examine them. He can't. It's not like you can go back through. There's heaps of trials where somebody might give a statement or they might be named in a probable cause affidavit or whatever that aren't ultimately called because there's other people that can give way more compelling evidence. But just because they're listed as a witness, I don't think you can just, as the accused, just say, I want them to come into court so I can confront them. I think he's taking it out of context. I mean, like I said, I could be wrong on this, but I've done trials where there's been people referred to, like, you know, witnesses that do, especially cops, that do sort of testing and things like that, but there's nothing that's really conclusive or whatever, but they have to file a statement and it's on the file that they picked up exhibit B from a laboratory and took it to another place for testing. You know, they've got to give that kind of a statement, or a delivery van driver or whatever. You don't always need to call them. But I don't recall as a defense lawyer going, I want to call that delivery driver and confront them on behalf of my client. Confront is, I think, is the technical term for it in the modern era is cross-examine. But if anyone knows differently, do let me know. Yeah, well, even a ski mask wouldn't be that weird. Yes, 86 would snap. It was a very lazy crime scene held by LA. The defense could use that glove to suggest the rest of the crime scene was contaminated by ineptitude and laziness. Yeah, well, I mean, I think the glove was sort of, everyone just went, no, that was planted after the event because, you know, he was like, oh, looky what I've found. And it's like, it was sitting on top of snow and there was no snow on the ground the night of the murders. So if it had been left behind, it would have been under the snow. I don't know how, you know, I don't know much. We don't know much about what happened at the crime scene. I mean, everyone's saying it was bad, but I mean, according to whom? The same people who are saying she was frozen on the spot for 8 hours in terror? You'd rather I represent you than JLR. We will ask him. We will ask him, Kanga. I'm definitely going to leave a comment. I bet it gets deleted and I get blocked. All right.
Or will he not? That remains to be seen.
We'll just get it.
I'm thinking far ahead, but there could be a lot of things that transpire in the meantime. I'm assuming it's going to go to trial. Maybe Ann Taylor, the public defender that is representing Brian Kohlberger, she wants to. This is her big bread and butter case, and she wants to take it as far as she can take it. Does she really have?
It's not actually a bread and butter case, you fucking idiot. Do you know anything about public defenders' salaries? I'm a public defender and I'm part-time and my secretary gets paid more than I do. And she's already done high-profile cases. She's not like, it's not like private lawyers like in O.J. Simpson that, you know, it launched these careers for them. She's not going to be paid shitloads of money, but she's going to drag it out as long as she needs to defend her client. That's what defense lawyers do.
Have Brian's interests at heart? Do you think that, or do you think this is just a case where? What is your thoughts? What is your thoughts? But this book, The Survivors. Now, maybe instead of getting The Survivors, and I'm most likely not going to get this book, I'd put it back here.
No. I mean, yay! You didn't even read the back of it. Dude, you missed out. The Survivors. Jane Harper's highly anticipated fourth novel, The Survivors, is out now in all English-speaking territories, including the United States. I had to specifically say that. The Survivors, a standalone mystery, is set on the Tasmanian coast. Kieran Elliott's life changed forever on a single day when a reckless mistake led to devastating consequences. The guilt that still haunts him resurfaces during a visit with his young family to the small coastal community he once called home. Kieran's parents are struggling in a town where fortunes are forged by the sea. Between them all is his absent brother, Finn. When a body is discovered on the beach, long-held secrets threaten to emerge. A sunken wreck, a missing girl, and questions that have never washed away. How could you put that back on the shelf, JLR? Listen to the reviews from the New York Times. The New York Times from your land. And we'll be showing you in Times Square shortly. As always, Harper skillfully evokes the landscape as she weaves a complicated, elegant web full of long-buried secrets ready to come to light. The Daily Telegraph. It's now clear Harper has a gift. Adelaide Advertiser, a crime-writing force of nature. You say you're true crime, JLR. You've just put a crime-writing force of nature book back on the shelf, you loser. Oh, I don't know what was nuts, but whatever it was. Yeah, I know lots of people in Florida too. Yeah, look, she's ambitious for sure, and she probably will end up being a judge. But she's not going to make a name for herself or money during this trial. This isn't like the golden ticket that he was implying it is. Public defender's salaries are shit. I just said I'm a public defender and my secretary earns more than me. I love it how Americans now say we speak American English, because everyone's called them out for years for butchering English. It's like, I mean, I went to America, 2019 in Hawaii. What language do you speak? I'm like, English. Oh, well, we speak American English, so it's kind of similar. And I'm like, no, you actually speak English too. You've just fucked it up a lot. Not our Finn. This Finn has two ends, Miss K. JLR is Florida man. It's too educated for jail. Yes, definitely. Multilingual, English, Australian, American, and even Tasmanian. Exactly. Okay. Let's go back to him. I'm so pissed off. I mean, I'm not. I'm glad that he doesn't have a bit of Tasmania in his apartment, because that was going to give me nightmares. But still, he just put a masterpiece back on the shelves. Maybe he'll go and buy Piggy for Bullhorn Betty. Let's see.
Here. Maybe I'll get some puzzles, right? Puzzles are good. Sudoku, mental challenges. We got a variety of puzzles. They got a lot of good stuff here at Walmart, and
stop touching things and not buying them. That's how COVID spreads, you pig. I can't stand that. Haven't people learned? Like, unless you're going to buy it, no touchy. No deal. He's touched a book, a magazine, or puzzles. Oh, yeah, you'll be able to do the word finder ones. They're pretty easy, JLR. We used to do those in primary school.
And, I do a lot of these things. I don't know if you guys do.
And large print, too. Now with 27 extra puzzles and 32 more pages. So what's on the other 5 pages? If there's 27 extra puzzles, what shit have they put on 5 extra pages? Nothing, probably. I'm not surprised he does a lot of those.
A little bit of old-fashioned, but it's still...
It's a little bit primary school.
Good, So
let's just it's still good, Oh, Australian, we do, but we don't call it Australian English. Like, at least we just admit we fucking mangle it too. The defense team, $200 an hour. Yeah, and guess what? BK's defense team being granted $200 an hour, but there'll be a team of about 30 of them too. You buy that book, you'll be suing people before you know it. Yeah, colouring book. Get a colouring book, JLR.
Sometimes when I'm sitting at an airport and I get a pen and pencil out.
Oh no, wait a minute. Back to the $200 an hour. So with BK's defense team, when I finished practicing law criminal law in the mid-90s, I was getting $600 an hour in private practice in the mid-90s. So yeah, $200 an hour is nothing. For a lawyer of her experience, it's nothing. Do you think Alex Murdaugh's team's getting paid $200 an hour? They're probably getting paid $5,000 a day, maybe $10,000 a day, like big dollars. $200 an hour. Even Bullhorn Betty in her pretend paralegal job would earn more than $200 an hour if she was a good paralegal. I mean, if she even was one.
I fill these books out, Sudoku, crossword puzzles. I like this kind of stuff. It's good for your mind. It keeps it going. We want to keep our minds sharp. And another thing that I enjoy doing is studying law. And that's why the Kohlberger Idaho
Kohlberger. I love studying law and true crime, but he can't pronounce Brian Kohlberger's name. Maybe move on from the finder words and go up to something a little bit more, like maybe, I don't know, a cryptic crossword or something. Try one of those.
Case is very inspiring to me to understand the process and what it's like a game of checkers and chess that are going to be played back and forth with one another between the prosecution side of the case and Brian Koperker's side of the case, and which side will fold, if at all, or how far is this going?
It's not a bloody. It's when they're not gambling and playing poker. You gotta know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em. They fight to the death. It's an adversarial profession. Which one will fold first? No. Negotiations alone can go, I'm talking like in a civil case, can go on for years. There's no folding. Oh, shit, my hand's a bit average. Okay, I'm out. You fight to the death. You find a way to polish that turd. Even if you can't do that, you can at least roll it in a bit of glitter. You know what I'm saying? You don't fold. You sink your heels in. It's justice. It's all about justice, man. Perpetual platypussy. Good to see you. I am simulcasting on 2 channels, so if anyone hears a name being said and they're like, there's no one in chat, I must be blocked by them. You're not. You're just not in the channel. So, yeah, I'm on Tasmania Calling, and I'm also on Smooth Criminal Podcast because it's JLR covering a crime in the US, but holding a book about Tasmania. So I was like, which channel do I go live on? I did the same with Alex Murdaugh being called a Tasmanian Devil last week in court in the US of A. I was like, well, there's a bit of Tassie and there's a bit of crime, so hell, let's just simulcast the crap out of this. I can tell by BHP's hair she was never getting paid that much money. Absolutely not. I did hear a creator the other day saying, it's been proven she was never a paralegal. Burnt Toast did her digging. No, Burnt Toast did her digging and proved that Bullhorn Betty was never a paralegal to a criminal lawyer who went on to become a federal court judge. But she was a paralegal for like some sort of liquidation firm that ended up liquidating itself. She was briefly a paralegal, but it was in like a no, it wasn't liquidation, but like when houses are repossessed by the bank, was one of those sort of law firms. So she has got paralegal experience, just not in criminal law, and she only did that job for a very brief time. So yeah, the Glera, you're wrong. Burnt Toast showed that she was briefly a paralegal to a liquidation expert, or what's the word? A foreclosure. I think she worked for a firm that only did foreclosures. So you got it wrong, Glera. I'd love to react to him one day, but okay. I mean, but he's kind of on the same side, he's all about victims and so on too, but sometimes I do want to heckle. Well, I still do heckle him occasionally, a lot. He pulls all of this BS out of his bot. Yes, his ass. Yes, he does. I suppose 2 years of solitary confinement will do that to your thought processes. Correct. All he had was a pet cockroach. It was a hard time, Kanga. He's triggered now. It is Dog the Bounty Hunter hair. Bullhorn Betty's hair. What is JLR doing? Leave anything to do. Well, he's Perpetual Platypussy. I love your name. He was holding a book earlier because he's obsessed with Dylan Mortensen and Brittany Funk called The Survivors. And he's like, I'm in the book section of Walmart trying to find something to stimulate me intellectually. And this reminded me of them. But the actual book is set in Tasmania. And I'm like, no, stop it. Because last week, Alex Murdaugh was nicknamed at work the Tasmanian Devil by paralegal Griswold and others. I was like, shit, Tasmania's getting a mention in a multiple murder trial. Awesome. And barely a week later, we've got JLR holding up a book that's set in Tasmania. What's going on? What in the KFC is going on? And Tasmania doesn't need any publicity at the moment. We just made world news for the lady with the trout, and we're not going down that road again. Like, we just want to disappear for a while we can all recover from Trout Lady. Seriously. Okay. Hey, wake the truck up. What is he talking about? He does crosswords, so therefore knows all about the law. Yeah, he does. Because sometimes they have words like guilty in there. That's where he learns his stuff. Sometimes he makes my teeth itch. Oh my God. I love this. Please, Perpetual Platypussy, come back. You belong here. I have the funniest community. We might be small, but we're fucking hilarious. Honestly, that's cold. I hear you too. I know. I've got sensitive teeth. I get the itchy teeth thing. He's such a gronk. Yeah, her name was Griswold, but with an O. It was Griswold. She spelled it out. I nearly ran off the road then because I was like, you can't write this shit. On my Tasmania Calling page, whenever I take you guys to meet a wombat or to go to the Big Orange in South Australia and it's closed, like we always end up having Griswold vacations together. It's just, I couldn't believe it. Her surname was Griswold. Thanks, Time Lord. Good to see you, mate. You stay safe too. Yeah, the trout lady in this cemetery. Exactly. Too much. You've suffered ages. Oh, well, it's nice to be chatting with you. I love your name. It's great. Nice to properly meet you, Platypussy. Yeah, it's a great community. I know. Why do we? And we're so embarrassed about Trout Lady, and we were like, we'll just disappear again, like Brigadoon and everyone. I've got to feed Sonny. I'm going to have to do intermission in a minute. Yeah, which is like Brigadoon. We just need to disappear and pretend Trout Lady never happened, and then Alex Murdaugh trial. Boom. We used to call him the Tasmanian Devil, says paralegal Griswold. I was like, fuck, stop it. And don't compare him to our beautiful little critters. And then I'm walking back from the beach and put this twat muffin on. And he's holding up a book. And I'm like, that's that book I read that said Tasmania. Stop it. Do you want to know? Oh, you're in Queensland. There's a few Queenslanders in the community, Platypussy, Perpetual Platypussy. No, you don't want to know the trout story. No. I mean, you can Google it. Just don't watch the video because the cops are charging people for watching it or passing it on to people. Just actually, what's happening with that? Let me just see if there's any news. I heard she's actually left the state. I think he'd have to. Let's just say here's a headline. I can explain what it's about. She was using a trout for clout. The trout, let it all out. They've been charged. But I heard that she'd fled the state. In any event, you can do your own research on that terrible saga. All right, back to JLR. Yeah, it is. It's good fun, Francesca. I love doing these lives. All right. We're nearly there. We've only got 35 seconds to go. Can we do it? Yes, we can.
To get. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button. What's your thoughts about Brian Kohlberger's right to...
Who the fuck is Brian Kohlberger? I mean, I've got a few thoughts about Brian Kohlberger, but who's Brian Kohlberger? Brian Coleslawberger. Nope, not ringing any bells for me, I'm afraid.
Confront the witness. What's your thoughts about books in general?
I love them. I love books in general, JLR. They're my thoughts.
Books are great. Look, they got a big...
They're magazines, you dipshit. Books are great. Maybe when you do the sale of the century prize girl thing, do it in front of a heap of books. He really shouldn't be allowed to ad lib. He needs to get a license for this because he just is digging the biggest hole of stupidity and there's no way out of it. There's no way out of it. Keep digging, JLR. Look at books. I love books. Yeah, how to cut, what to eat with diabetes, plant-based food, backyard chickens. Oh, look, guns. Yep, all my favorite books.
Variety of books at Walmart still. People still read books. It's not just
He's in the kiddie section now too. That's where I saw Piggy before. People still read books. Thank fuck for JLR. I had no idea.
electronic books over the internet. People actually still read books. And I
Unbelievable. This is JLR Investigates with breaking news. People still read books. God, why didn't someone run into him with their trolley? I would have. She did. That's a good way to put it. I know. And when they reported it, they had a photo of her and the ex-husband holding the trout, and they blurred out his and her faces, and someone in the comments was like, why isn't the fish's face, why isn't the trout's face pixelated as well? I was like, exactly. That poor trout is just out there in the ocean somewhere just going, oh my God, the horror. And this is very politically incorrect, but another comment that did have me laughing for days. Someone said, it's going to take months to get the smell out of that trout. Anyway, all right. Okay. We'll give it a miss, Kanga. She needs to go and live in the United States. She does. A story like that probably wouldn't even make them blink an eyelid. Yeah, I'm surprised he can read too. A trout with PTSD. I know. There's an ooh factor to this meal. But come on, it's fucking funny. Tasmanians have got a good sense of humour. JLR, you should try read a book, most suitable being the children's section. Exactly. Start at the very beginning, JLR. But yeah, breaking news from JLR Investigates in my media hat. People still read books.
I do all the time, kids' books. It's a good parenting. You read your kids' books, whatnot. So love the books, love Walmart. Everyone be safe. Justice for the victims and their families. God bless.
I'm no author, and
Justice for the victims and their families. And yet he's just been absolutely scathing about Dylan. Hang on, let me get his video back up so I can leave him a comment. Oh, my thing has changed. Hang on. All right. Then I'm going to play a little song while I go and feed my muggy. All right. What was I going to say? DP means death penalty. Here in Tasmania, by the way, that the book, The Survivors, is set in Tasmania. We don't have the death penalty. DP means something very different, aka double penetration. Anything else I need to say? Oh, the Untied States was one of my scammers. He had lots of typos. His name, he told me to pronounce his name David, but it was spelled D-A-I-V-D, Daved. And he said he lived in the Untied States of America. It's the audacity for me, says Kylie. He's so important and so intelligent. He's the only one that I know, although Bullhorn's the same. Did he just say I do all the time? Picture books, or did I? Probably I didn't. I don't really. We're gonna be doing some more JLRing. Is there anything else I need to say? I'll say, I think RDP sounds like more fun. Oh no, he'll get excited. I don't think it needs anything else, does it? I'll just wait in case. Well, if anyone does have anything they want me to add, I know that Time Lord said something earlier, and I don't know if I can get that far back up. Hang on in chat. Let me have a look. Oh, BR the Star popped in. Sorry, BR the Star. I'm sure Time Lord. I can't find it. In any event, I think that's sufficient. Just leaving it. Hey, Aussie Trisha. That's enough to get me blocked. Yeah, she is horribly offensive. JLR is slightly amusing, so easier to stomach. They are both Floridians. Yes. Good to see you, Aussie Trisha. All right. So, yeah, I think that doesn't require anything else. There we go. But just to give you an example, a few examples of people, I mean, we've all just watched that piece of shit video together, right? I enjoy reading too. That's good. Or are they all just going to be talking about reading? Damn, you had me thinking that someone already published a book on the DM and BF. Oh, Randy. False BS. Yeah, Mimi's in there. Go, Mimi. She's in there. She's going to get blocked too. Hi, JLR. I appreciate your researching and giving us constant things to ponder. I do happy color online. Great. So this one's not a great one, but let me just show you this guy's obsession with poor DM. It's actually quite disturbing. And yeah, everyone's going, oh, Brian Koberger was a stalker. How creepy. Tell me you don't think this is sort of stalkerish. There's the one we just watched. Here, talking about that OnlyFans rumor. Then we go down a bit further. Has he taken... Oh, my God, there's a dead fish. I thought he did the trout thing. I reckon he's... Oh, no, hang on. This is... Look how much shit he puts up. This is like 2 days. We're only 2 days ago. But for a while there, it was every single day. Dylan. Yeah, so that was 3 days ago, 4 days ago. Dylan, walls closing in. 5 days ago was Dylan. Like, he is obsessed with her. Dylan, the right to remain silent. Dylan, broken family. Dylan, nothing burger. Dylan and her mum. Dylan in choppy waters. But did any of you see this one? I swear to God, this is absolutely
This interview left
crazy.
me speechless. It's bigger than...
Left her speechless. I'll just play this while I feed. I hope Randy's joking. Something's telling me he's not. I don't know if you guys have seen the Bright Lights one, but I'm going to play it for you while I feed my Moogie. Not my platypussy.
Jonathan Lee Bridges Investigates. I am in Times Square, New York. Can Dylan Mortensen handle the bright lights? The bright lights in the Moscow tragedy. Lots of people, lots of lights, flashing lights, spotlights, red lights, green lights, caution lights are on Dylan Mortensen. People want to know about Dylan Mortensen and her actions during the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. The bright lights lights. There's a lot of people here in New York. Let me show you. The bright lights. The bright lights. Can Dylan Mortensen handle the bright lights?
The bright lights.
Can she handle the bright lights?
The bright lights.
Because
Hey, Blue.
lights will be shined on Dylan Mortensen.
What the fuck is he going on about? Take a shot every time he says the bright lights. Like, he's in Times Square with a photo of Dylan. Bright lights, spotlights, red lights, warning lights, light bulbs. I don't know which chat you're on. Hey, him animal. Yeah, we're on 2 channels. We're simulcasting because I was talking about Tasmania, but I'm also talking about crime. So I figured I'd just go live on both. I know, what's going on here? The bright lights. I mean, it was fun taking the piss out of him almost buying a book that's set in Tasmania, but this is just craziness. Good to see you, Blue. Yes, he did take Holocaust survivors to court. Yes. He is a professional agitator. Exactly, him animal. Looking good, gorgeous. And I had a bit of a listen to your I don't know much about that murder. My God, is it the Clancy murder? Oh my God, it's awful. Yeah, she is getting trashed alley by this knob. Yeah, well, I mean, we're okay. What's with the bright lights thing? You want to punch his lights out. Yeah, I am too, Kanga Blue, the voice of reason. Tori, you trolling me. You see me trolling. You hating, Blue. All right, I kind of want to start over again, but we don't need to. But take a shot every time he says bright lights.
Her actions, what transpired, people are questioning. People want to know. The bright lights.
Skull, everyone.
And I am out here covering the Moscow tragedy.
In Times Square, a long way from Idaho.
In Times Square. I want to know your thoughts. If you were in Dylan's shoes, could you handle the bright lights? Could you handle all
Skull.
all the people watching you?
No, she can't, which is why I'm defending her. And I don't get 1,000 people watching me because I'm not crucifying her. I'm defending her and I get called disgusting. I can't even get to 20 people watching me. There ain't 20 people on the interwebs on YouTube who are interested in hanging out with someone defending this girl. It's way more fun to crucify her and twist everything, the tiny bit that we know, twist it beyond belief and go live several times a day alleging that she's somehow complicit and connected to these horrible crimes, when realistically she's dealing with, I would imagine, a hideous amount of survivor's guilt, no doubt PTSD as well. And on top of that, she's subject to a gag order. She can't even defend herself against you morons. I'm naked and on the table. Bright lights reiterated by Dimwit. You guys honestly are coming up with some great lines today. Bright lights reiterated by Dimwit. He needs a bright light. Yes, him animal. We are both little fighters, though. We won't give up. I'd still rather have 11 people who have got compassion and empathy and give a shit about facts and victims hanging out with me than have 1,000 people that want to pick up their pitchforks, as Critical K would say, and go after everyone. I'm not fussed by that. But isn't it depressing, though? Like, it is kind of sad. And then, yeah, I get called disgusting. Well, look at the comments under this video too, because I want to react to them. As far as I'm concerned, it's not just the creators that are the problem. It's the masses following them that are really bad, really bad. Because without followers, you've got no channel. But you should see the bloodthirsty bastards in his chats, honestly. Okay, in his comments. Here we go.
And analyzing you, wondering about you, and talking about you.
Most decent people aren't unless they're talking out to defend her, because this is insane. People just got charged in England because with the oh shit, I've had a mental blank. Bully. Nicola Bully. They've been charged for doing the same shit that this guy, Bullhorn Betty, Molly all do. Heels on the ground type crap. They've been arrested and charged. Bring it the fuck on. And America, wake up. Get onto this shit too. I'll cover that, not today. I need to cook dinner shortly, and I'm going to go to a really nice Mel. You got a chicken. Cute. JLR's never had a light bulb moment in his life. I imagine she would be in hiding. But isn't it awful? She can't even defend herself, even if she wanted to. I hope everyone around her is trying to protect her from this craziness. But you can't take a gadget, a phone off a kid that age. It's like their life. It's like a limb. I'd be sculling, but I'm out with the koalas. Cute. Yeah, and so many people buy into this shit. They love it. You're not naked on a table. Well, if you take a skull, take a shot every time he says bright lights, you'll get drunk in under 30 seconds. Yeah, I reckon he's got one of those little night lights that, you put in a nursery, like of a little elephant or something. All right, keep going with the bright lights, because it's better to just let this run and watch on in horror. You know to skull when he says bright lights.
Online, the amount of people here is not nearly the amount of people worldwide that want to know about Dylan Mortensen and her actions.
Her actions were perfectly... So I have to intervene because you're a wanker. There's nothing wrong with her. We know very little about her actions. Very little. I mean, if you listen to Ashley Banfield and her never-ending list of sources, there's a bloody thesis on what Dylan did that night. Not one source verified. I'm sticking to what's in the probable cause affidavit and the information the police department put out. That's it. That's it. There's actually not much on her. But it is true, JLR. There are people the world over that are baying for her blood, and it's fucking disgusting.
Why? She froze when she saw a masked man with bushy eyebrows.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who wouldn't freeze when they see a man like you with bushy eyebrows? There's people in Times Square freezing on the spot right now. And look how it gets distorted in a masked man. He had a mask on that covered his nose and mouth. It could have been a little COVID mask. Seriously.
Allegedly, Brian
Kohlberger.
Inside the Moscow home. Why? She just went inside her home and inside her room, locked the door, and then...
From what I know, the doors lock when you close them because they've got those keypad things on them. So a lot of people are going on about that too. Why would you lock the door? The door locks when you shut it. That's pretty common in uni houses. I had my own code to my own room, and when the door closed, it locked. If you didn't know the code, you couldn't come in.
Authorities, 911, didn't get called.
There was no reason to. We've been through that before on this channel. Well, on Smooth Criminal we have.
For like 8 additional hours. Almost.
While she was sleeping, because there'd been nothing that made her think she needed to call the cops. She was asleep.
It was midday the next day. People are going to wonder. Lots of people.
Only people that don't stick to the facts and the tiny percentage of information we have. Probably 5% if we're lucky. Maybe less.
New York is the city of bright lights.
Bright light.
Dylan Mortensen's going to have a bright light on her for sure.
The bright lights are on you right now. You
Look at these
dickhead.
lights.
Look at the lights.
Look all over the place.
They're
Big
everywhere.
buildings, lights.
Lights.
Lights on Dylan.
Lights on Dylan.
Green light, red light, caution light. Flashlights. Flashing.
Fleshlight? Did he say fleshlight? No, it doesn't. Penises don't have facial expressions. Yeah, I know, it's hideous. The Delphi case, when there isn't much information, just make shit up, then distort it, have it run through the Chinese whispers route, and voila, nothing at all like the actual event. Exactly. Yeah, he will. And look, if he was in England and he was doing the heels on the ground shit with the Nicola Bulley case, he would have been arrested because a couple of TikTokers have been charged for interfering with that investigation. Bring it on, I say. Worldwide.
Lights.
Bright lights.
Spotlights. Light
Spotlight.
bulbs. Flashing.
He didn't say traffic lights. He said red light, green light, caution light, flashlight.
On Dylan Mortensen. This is the city that never sleeps.
So, check out the dude in the blue costume just there. He's way more entertaining.
We're wondering what happened that day.
Oh, it's Sonic the Hedgehog. I loved that game. And Minnie and Mickey. That look at him trying to be serious with those earmuffs on. Oh, he's a dwoob. The bright lights. Look at Sonic the Hedgehog and Mickey and Minnie. They're so cool. I used to love Sonic. I loved that game so much.
Everyone be safe. God bless. We'll talk soon.
Who's this dude? Is that a Tasmanian Devil? Tell me it's not. Oh, Jesus. But anyway, what I want to show you with this, before we wrap up this hilarity, let's go to the comment section and look at what we're up against, guys. The harsh reality of YouTube. Caffey pause. And like I said, I don't have any guilt or shame going through comments. They're public and they're here to be scrutinized. And my issue isn't just with the creators, it's with the mob. Hang on, let's see. 8.3 thousand views, 36.6 thousand subscribers. I haven't even got 1,000 subscribers and I don't even get 100 views on most of my things because I'm defending Dylan. Have you all read the news? A small 2-year-old boy from Scotland named Hanlon Stevenson called the police. He was recognised for bravery. Now imagine Dylan. No further words needed. When should she have called? You like that game too? Maybe Sonic was the DoorDash driver. Hey, Joman. How is this for crass? I have DoorDash ads popping up when I watch any YouTube video. Oh, my God, about the Idaho 4. Right after the Port Arthur massacre, there was an ad playing, because they were doing a lot of reporting on it. And I was living in Adelaide. We were getting a lot more info than Tasmanians were. And there was an ad that had a girl who'd eaten too much dinner and she had button-up jeans on and all the buttons came popping off her jeans and it sounded like gunshots and it was really disturbing. It kept coming on in the ad breaks while they were doing live coverage. I was like, can someone maybe rethink this ad? It's not great. Yeah, but we've covered this before. When should she have called the cops? When she woke up the next day, when they did call the cops. Exactly, says Boise. Angela, I'm not putting blame on anyone, but News Nation, yeah, the most credible tabloid in the untied states of America, came out and reported that Dylan thought that all the noise was from late night partying. Well, maybe they did, but we've already said, just based on what we do know, the facts, that it was a known party house. There's footage of them having a party there, and nobody who lived there was even present. And when you're in a share house with 4 girls in university and you're 19, 20, 21, girls are loud, high-pitched, squealy, they cry a lot. You've got people clunking around on different floors when it's a multi-level property. It was a noisy house. People were coming. I mean, Zana had DoorDash delivered at 4 a.m. Just another Saturday night in a share house. Is that why she froze in shock? She didn't freeze in shock. She was in a frozen shock phase. And that's a quote. The male walked past DM as she stood in a frozen shock phase. She's like, oh, dude walking out. Don't want to engage with him at 4 a.m. I mean, he might have just been with one of the girls I share the house with. Let him go. Let him go. Angela says, I have no idea. I was just reporting that was on the news channel. Well, news is a, debatable word when you're talking about News Nation. I'm waiting to... Oh, actually, Angela's all right. Sorry, Angela. She's waiting to see. Good girl. You wait, but don't keep quoting News Nation. That's not a good look. Yeah, exactly. They weren't there. And in that situation, you have to put yourself in people's shoes. Exactly. See, we all think the same way. They throw things, play with the golden retriever. Exactly. Yep. Face mask not out of the norm. But I mean, look, a human animal, it can be interpreted so many ways, a tiny bit of stuff we've got. But again, I'd rather people go down that road that you think that she might have been scared witless. See, I don't think that. I think that there's a lot of noise going on. If it's, 4 a.m, you've got DoorDash rocking up, people coming home, eating the carbonara in the kitchen, doors banging, the puppies around. There's a couple that may occasionally have little arguments and crying and so on. It's just 4 a.m. You just want to sleep. Shut the fuck up, guys. And she pokes her head out the door and some dude's walking out of the house. So she just froze in shock, in a phase. I mean, the phase might have been 1 second. It might have been 3 seconds, however long it took for him to walk past her. It doesn't say she stood there for 8 hours like a creator was saying yesterday in terror. It doesn't say anything like that. I think your glasses are dirty, Kylie, but it might have. Well, it shouldn't. No, it shouldn't. I reckon it's your glasses. Yeah, let's see what comes out in court. And it'll be great when it comes out in court because so much of this stuff, people are going to be like, oh, well, that explains that. Yeah, no kidding, Einstein. That's why we wait for the trial and the preliminary hearing and more facts to come out. Jean P., you make a valid point. Now, if DM is changing her statement to she just thought it was normal, maybe it was for them. What do you mean she's changing her statement? We haven't even seen her statement. I mean, there's 3 words in quotations in the probable cause affidavit, frozen shock phase. That's as far as we've got with a statement. The part about her being in shock phase is probably true. And her latest statement about it being just another party, I wonder if Anne Bryan's attorney told her just to say that. What? Huh? Jean, the probable cause affidavit is from the cops and they've taken something out of the statements she gave them. What the fuck are you on? Robin Latham, I think she was coached on what to say by the FBI. And MPD went with it thinking it sounded reasonable and would satisfy public inquiry. What are you people talking about? That's what I've been saying all along, says Dakota. Her story makes no sense. It won't with the tiny bit of information we have. No, there won't be apologies. Absolutely not. Yeah, she would have been next. Isn't this bizarre? This is what we're up against, guys. Do we soldier on or do we just go, what are we doing here? J Mangy 62. That's what I think happened. Give us something plausible to get rid of us curious normal people who want answers. You're not entitled to answers with your Beavis and Butthead bloody thing, avatar. We're not owed a thing. There's nothing wrong with questioning stuff and being curious. Even like I've said many times, if I had a dinner party and we're all speculating and ignoring the facts, fine. I'd never go live on YouTube and do that, though. I'm sticking to the facts. But you guys aren't owed a thing. Curiosity isn't grounds for you being given the entire case. You guys are seriously potentially going to let this guy walk free. How are they going to get an impartial jury with all this shit going on online? Stephanie Michelle, Dylan is hiding a lot. She's not hiding a thing. The cops put a tiny bit of information in the probable cause affidavit because she possibly saw the suspect who's now in custody leaving the house. They had to do that. That's what the probable cause affidavit's about. It's about putting in the snippets of information you've got and the evidence that show the person you've arrested is probably the one who did it. That's what it's about. She's not hiding a thing. She had no say in what they put in that affidavit. None. 5-year-olds have called 911 while their parents were being killed in home evasions, but a 20-year-old can't call 911. She didn't know people were being killed. You know that people were killed. She didn't know. Something seriously wrong there. She's lying. She's changed her story multiple times. Where have you heard her tell her story? The cops put out a pretty vague statement right at the start, and they put out the probable cause affidavit. Like a very vague statement about the entirety of the case. She must have knowledge of what happened. How? She better be ready for trial. She's not the one on the stand as a suspect. How vile is that? She's lying. Who are you, Stephanie Michelle? Because you're wrong on every count in your comment. Hey, Lawler. How are you, mate? Yeah, everyone loves a witch hunt, Mel. Yeah, she does. And I was talking about maybe before you even arrived, Humanimal, but I don't even know if I was the prosecutor that I'd even call her for the preliminary hearing. I think they've got enough evidence without having to call her. And you wouldn't want to re-traumatize her. It's going to be horrible for her anyway. I don't think she actually needs to be at the preliminary hearing, personally. And they're going to get up on that anyway, based on the probable cause affidavit. Preliminary hearings aren't trials. So I wouldn't do it if I was the prosecutor. I'll be horrified if they do call her, because I'd be I'd go out of my way to protect her as much as I could. And I also wouldn't want her to be giving evidence in the preliminary hearing and then contradict herself in the trial months and months later when she's possibly living with, well, not only survivor's guilt, but she may have PTSD and a heap of other issues now. It's very possible that her memory could fade and things could change a little bit, and the defence will pounce on that. So, yeah, I wouldn't call her personally. But people forget too that she's subject to a gag order. She can't even defend herself even if she wanted to. Nor can the people who legitimately love her and care about all these alleged friends of hers and people that used to go to parties that have all these unnamed sources. None of them are subject to the gag order. They're clearly not witnesses or of any relevance to the case, if they even exist at all. But anyone close to her, they can't speak up and defend her either. Paula Johnson, who leaves eyewitnesses alive? She's not an eyewitness. She didn't see, apart from seeing him walk out, that's all she saw. She didn't stand there and watch 4 people being killed. She's not an eyewitness. Not normal at all, so we must ask why lives were spared. I'm still wondering if B was even home. Yeah, because they're all now getting into Bethany as well. He walked past and didn't notice it. I mean, I remember watching some guy right at the start of this case discussing the reality of stabbing someone and killing them and how much energy it takes to do that. And the fact that he was capable to do 4 people was almost incredulous to this expert who was talking about it, because the amount of adrenaline you've got while you're doing it physically drains you. So to multiply that by 4, and if he did just go there planning to kill one person and he suddenly killed 3 others because they were collateral damage, and there may have been a noise or something and he's like, I've got to get the fuck out of here, or I'm just physically exhausted. Possible explanation too. But she wasn't an eyewitness to the murders, and Paula Johnson needs to pull her head in. Carol's bells. You think her mum lawyer would give her advice, right? I imagine her mum's giving her a lot of advice. What's that got to do with the price of eggs in Tasmania? Maybe her mum did give her advice. Lawyers let people fry if those sane people don't have money to pay the lawyer for help. Huh? Lawyers let people fry if those sane people don't have what? Huh? Maybe mom, if really a lawyer, taught her to watch out for numero uno and say la vie anyone else. Anyway, the police are only ones besides DM who know what DM really said, and only DM knows what she herself did in capitals. We won't know till after June if indeed we find out at all. DM's karma, meanwhile, will follow her. Her main goal was self-interest, nada mas, tis, tis, tis. Stacey. For starters, you're copying Mel by having your name twice. What are you talking about? I don't get it why people go after these girls. Are they mentally incapacitated? They just want, they're part of a mob and a think tank now without any room for critical thinking or breaking away from the mob, and they just want to believe the worst. They're the hashtag team foul play from the Kylie Rodney story. It wasn't graphic enough for them that a 16-year-old girl took a wrong turn and drowned in her car in a lake, which would have been horrifying. Those last seconds of her life, minutes of her life would have been horrible. That wasn't enough for them. They wanted it to be a murder. They created the hashtag team foul play. These people want blood. And the horrible thing is, if it happened to any of them, God forbid anyone on YouTube did what they're doing about Dylan day in, day out, they'd be screaming to the rooftops about how inappropriate it is, how dare you, you name it. But it's quite okay for them to do it to someone they didn't know or love. It's disgusting. I'm never going to stop calling this shit out because I get so riled up about it. And I'll never have 1,000 people watching me because the mob that wants her blood think people like me are disgusting. And I've actually had those comments put under my videos defending her. What are you cooking, Aussie Trisha? There, wipe your hands, wash your hands, clean them up so you can type in chat what you're cooking. Yeah, I do too, Kylie. You've summed it up perfectly. People are off their heads and we're the only sober ones. Oh, Melma wants to know too. We all want potatoes with coleslaw and sour cream and hamburgers for Josh. Yum. Yum. I'm going to make I'm on keto, but I'm actually having a turkey schnitzel for dinner with yummy things. I can't wait. Yeah, we can't make sense of it. Yeah, it's just a thing, isn't it, you know? You just caught a massive wasp dragging a huntsman along the paving. Go, wasp. My grandmother used to say, treat others as you wish to be treated yourself. Wise words indeed. Yes. I know, if only. Imagine how different the world would be if people did that. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. And I still think of Kylie Rodney's mum, was it the 3 gateways for speech? It's in one of my little videos. Like, for everything that comes out of your mouth, is it kind? Is it true? Is it helpful? Really good way to think when you're speaking. If it's not those things, then zip it. But no. And yeah, now we've had TikTokers arrested in the UK because of their interfering with the Nicola Bulley investigation. And we're going to be seeing more of this. I will be doing a video about the Nicola Bulley people being charged too, because bring it on. Bring it on. Matthew 7:12, is that the do unto others? Right, we'll read a few more. I'll just take a bit of a sip of water. And then I'm going to get out of here. It's dinner time. Dylan's story isn't adding up, says Dopper D. She better get her story straight for trial. It's not going to add up with the bit we know. Again, said it before. Don't need to keep repeating it. She might be a pathological liar without a conscience on drugs. She might be. She's probably just a kid who saw some guy walking out of a share house at 4 a.m. He walked past her and she went back to bed. She seems to be higher than a kite in most of the pictures I see of her. Are you an expert, Lionheart Merrill? Are you verified? Can you verify your qualifications? Where did you get the skills to be able to identify someone being high? I take bad photos. I've got a friend, Kim, who I adore. She's got a lazy eye. She looks off her face a lot. She's in a band and she's actually had organisers of events she's performed at saying, we're not sure you should be performing because you clearly look inebriated. And she's like, no, I've just got a munted eye. Maybe she was on LSD and was hallucinating when she says she saw the killer. Well, she didn't say she saw a killer. She said she saw a guy walking out of the house. Listen, I mean, this is just spinning out of control. Look at this one, Logie Verveluet. Mommy's a lawyer. And let's go after the parents now too, because JLR has. I don't think Dylan can handle the bright lights. She can't even handle a timely phone call to 911. Again, when should she have called them? Connie Zinrude. She needs to tell the truth. I reckon she has been, fuckface. How do you know she's not? Karen L. She has a lot of talking and explaining to the families. There are things that just don't make sense. Good reporting, Jonathan. Keep safe. Holy shit. This is what we're up against, guys. D. Hicks. JLR, thank you for everything that you're doing. You are totally awesome. I must say, you are all over the place doing your damn thing. I'm so thankful for all you do. You're in my hometown. Wish I had known. I would have come to Times Square to say hello and to thank you for your dedicated work. Much love and many blessings. What on earth? You got to make Joshy's popcorn and get his drink when he gets in from school. Yeah, same with Sammy Smith. Good point, him animal. A typical Karen. She wants his polony. And I love this use of the word work. Gets used by Bullhorn as well. We're working our butts off. You're not working. You are a pest, JLR. You are in the book section of Walmart. You're in the Times Square going, the bright lights, the bright lights. You are totally awesome. You're totally awesome. Hyperbole, anyone? I'll look at Matty Geo. I'm with you. Can't believe he's walking around Times Square with a photo of Dylan. Neither can I. But then Jackie goes, I know, you got to love JLR. D says JLR likes his pics. Kimberly Teresa Ann, that's a big name, Askew, had to reply to your comment, had me in stitches of laughter for about 10 minutes and I nearly peed myself. I guess Jonathan just does his own thing despite the consequences. Oh, my, how we laughed. Jesus Christ. And Anita Backrub. She used to be in a community that I frolicked in because I love train wreck viewing. What's Anita got to say? My thoughts? I'm starting to believe she's involved somehow. And I think the footprint they've mentioned a few times in front of Dylan's room is there because he stopped to say something to her or hand her something. Oh, Anita, what's going on with you? He walked past her door. That's why there was a footprint there. And it was a latent one as well. Ali JJR, I've thought that from the beginning. I don't believe he'd be worried about the time when he's just linked 4 innocent people. What's 3 more seconds to stab or slash someone you're walking by? I truly think there's a connection. Her story seems suspicious. Okay. Then there's this bloody Caffey Paws is trolling and spamming JLR's comments section. This person, Enid Melendez, agrees 1,000%. Wow. It's so out of hand, Kylie. It's insane. And they just don't care. Oh, look, Leslie Mimack. We'll end on her. I think people should give poor Dylan a break. I've been frozen in fear when staying at a friend's pub, someone smashing up downstairs. I put my kids under bed, told them not to move, dialed 999, told my friends not to go down, and he did, was confronted with machete. Cops arrived immediately, sirens, he escaped. They should have come with sirens, without sirens anyway. Thank you, Lord, my kids didn't move. From Leslie, retired nurse, England. And then Kimberly back. Hello, I must admit I did suspected her at the start. Well, if you I did suspected her at the start. Reason to move on. A, when the murders first happened, I knew the 2 surviving roommates had something to do with it, point blank. Annette P agrees. This is scary. Thanks for sharing the bright lights. Bright lights. Bright lights. There was a secret photo of DM jogging from her home a while back, but she's not only got lights shining on her because became her statement of seeing BK in the house, hearing crying, not even checking on her friends, just down the hall from her room, makes no sense. Do you know how many times girls cry in a share house when there's 5 girls of that age in a share house? All the time. You get sick of checking in on your friends when they're crying when you live in a share house with that many girls. What's equally odd to me is the 6th-person Bethany was there as well, but not aware of the bloodshed in the house. No. Let me find one to let me find. Oh, my God, no name. I hope she doesn't off herself before trial. Either because people are surely harassing her to death. Well, that's true. Or she's guilty. No, she's not. Wow. I hope she doesn't off herself. Seriously? Be kind, love seeing Times Square and the analogy of bright lights. And it goes on and on. Hey, here we go. We'll end with Paula, the voice of reason. Jonathan, don't you think we should wait until the trial? Yes, we should, Paula. Praise be. You're an investigator. Don't you think, I mean, she didn't do your right, but who cares? Don't you think all of this negative attention in the media will cause problems at the trial? Absolutely. There's a very good reason for a gag order in this case. There sure is, Paula. And whether anyone likes it or not, DM is a witness. The only surviving witness in that house that heard or saw or heard anything, according to LE. Yeah, thank you, Paula. The voice of reason in a sea of swill. And there's thousands of people in that sea of swill. It's scary. And I'm going to keep defending her and any other innocents who get caught up in this nightmare simply because they know someone who either was murdered or was a victim of a terrible accident. I agree. I agree, Kanga Blue. They would be happier if she'd been killed too. They hashtag team foul play as well. Yeah, you go, Paula. And so we're going to end on that, guys. The only person here innocent until proven guilty is BK. Yeah. And that, don't you just love it? They're always like, everyone's innocent until proven guilty, unless it's us going after innocent people to try and work out why and how we can show that they're guilty on the fraction of information that we have. In fact, we're not even going to acknowledge the facts we know. We're going to put them to one side, or we're going to completely distort them and misquote them and make out they mean a lot more than they actually do. We're just going to keep victimizing victims. We want them to break. They're horrible people. They survived something hideous and they deserve to die too. That's the sort of thinking. Like, they're not literally thinking that, but the way they go with this, what else do they want? That is exactly what they want. You love my brain? Thank you. I love all of your brains because you're smart enough to hang out with me and put up with my doing this. And I will continue to do it. And I'll never be a big channel on YouTube because of that, and I don't care. I'd love some new people to find us, though. It was really exciting when Perpetual, or what was it? The Platypussy was in earlier, who's been sub for a while but never actually met me before on a live, which was lovely. But it'd be really great. I'm living for the day that someone just wanders in and goes, you do have some interesting perspectives. I should consider that side of it as well. That's all I want, just one person. I'm always chatting to you guys, and you guys are all like-minded, intelligent, empathetic human beings who know how to follow a true crime case. The good old-fashioned way, the OG way. We're not this new generation of sleuths who think JLR is amazing and haven't bothered to look at his Wikipedia to see that he's an absolute fruit bat. Have fun, Kylie. Yeah, wash it off, sage your brain. I'm going to go for a beautiful walk on the beach while my dinner is cooking. No, maybe not. I might go for a walk and then I'll come back and have a late supper. Yeah, I'm with you, Joman. It is unbelievable. Brains, nom, nom, nom. You are. You're all intelligent. I sent a girl who moved from Sydney to Tassie to you, but not sure if she's been here. But you have been taking a break, and it's a good thing to do. Yes, Kylie, enjoy the pool. I've still got my bathers on. I might go back down for another swim. I was going to go to yin yoga, but I don't feel like it. I really have to go to the gym first thing in the morning or it doesn't happen. I talk myself out of it every single day if I leave it this late. But, guys, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, I will continue to call it out. I'll never be trendy or popular on YouTube because so many people, unfortunately, way more people who want, the right outcome, who believe in innocent until proven guilty, who believe in letting the course of justice move at its pace, which is very slow, and to focus on the facts and victims. We're a minority, guys. You're an idiot by nature. You just try hard. Well, you're very convincing. But seriously, when you hear creators go, I love you guys, I don't know if they mean it because they've got literally hundreds and thousands of people in there, most of them throwing money their way. But you guys, we all actually know each other and check in on each other, and we know what people have been up to, and we're excited when someone comes back that we haven't seen in a long time, and it's lovely. It's really, really lovely. I just pretend to be intelligent because I don't want to deviate from the norm. Look, I'm living proof that not all bimbos are blonde. I do some really dumb shit. I'm not sure. When will I be live again? I do have, cringe, Mel in particular. I do have a new channel that I'll be launching in the next month. And I'm very excited about it. And it will probably be something that none of you are expecting. And yes, I know I've already got other channels, but it's time for me to accept that I need to really focus on a couple of things. So Smooth Criminal will continue. Tasmania Calling will always be around because it's like a vlog. I might even turn off memberships so people aren't paying for that because it's probably a bit much for you to be paying $1 a month for me just to be walking on the beach and stuff. But yeah, I've got a new channel that I'll be launching. I'll keep you posted on it. It'd be lovely if some of you think it's something that might interest you to join me, but it's definitely going to be pitching to a completely different audience on YouTube. So watch out for that. It's a heavy subject, but hopefully we'll dealt with a bit of humour along the way. When people find you, they're usually hecklers. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Humanimal. Like I said, I'm disgusting because I'm defending Dylan. But JLR's awesome because he's crucifying her. Go figure. Have a great night, everyone. I will be back soon. I'm working tomorrow. But hopefully I'll be back online. I will be doing that video about the TikTokers. I've got a massive weekend coming up, a good one. I've got a birthday present happening. I was given an adventure for my birthday, and that's happening on Saturday. I've got my gorgeous friend Laura staying with me on Saturday night. I might be back on Sunday. Oh, thank you, Aussie Trisha. I do need to, well, I mean, she's like-minded too. I like her because I found her when I was absolutely frustrated with the start of Summer World's disappearance and how judgy everyone was being. And I stumbled across her, and she's like, just because they don't live the way you do doesn't mean they're killers. And I was like, who's this chick? So that's when I got into her. But again, I mean, I'm talking to a community that feels the same way. In fact, I should be inspired by people like Chasing Truth, because she does have a big empathetic community of smart people too. But thank you, Aussie Trisha. That means a lot. I don't even give you shells. Yes. Yeah, Loza. Loza's coming to stay. She's nearly 40. Her 40th is coming up in March. Yeah, there's some really great people out there. And it's reassuring to know that I'm not the only one. But I also know time zones make watching me, sometimes impossible for people in other parts of the world. Or like this morning, batshit was so early, most Australians were probably still asleep. But I also know there's a bit of a parochial view that people outside of America have no place talking about American cases. So, to that I say, go fuck yourself. There are no borders when it comes to following true crime. Yeah, and look, I mean, I know if I go live talking about Nicola Bulley, I'll probably start getting a few new subscribers, and any cases, or if I've done the Alex Murdaugh one, there's cases but they're being covered by so many different channels. And I did a live the other day about the Iranian girl who was murdered on a killing by her father. Nobody wants to talk about things like that. That's just overseas. It's icky. I mean, look at what's happened in Turkey and Syria with the earthquake. It doesn't even get mentioned by the American creators. They don't give a shit. It's not. They're NIMBYs. It's not in my backyard. I don't care about it. But yeah, you try to cover a car. I do like to look at cases and give victims who deserve a voice. I like to discuss those cases, like even Toy Accordingly, some of the Australian cases that I cover. I'd rather give victims who aren't being given a voice anywhere a voice than pick a topic that everyone's covering, so I build my channel, if that makes sense. You've watched me grow up? It's a great chat with compassionate humans who actually have intelligence. Well said, beautiful. I know the figure is it's over 35,000 now. It's so heartbreaking. There have been some really beautiful stories of hope. I think I'd like to do a live about that at some point, because just the strength of human beings and their resilience and the determination to try to keep going, because there may still be somebody under the rubble who's alive, and they've pulled out people who were alive that at that point they figured there was no chance of any survivors left. So to wrap your head around something that massive and graphic and horrible, those little survival stories are basically a little pocket of goodness that makes you makes you feel a little bit better, even if it's momentarily. You're still aware of a huge loss of human life, but just all of those people working so hard, it must just be incredible when they do find someone who's still alive. I know the babies. Did you see the baby that was in her big sister's arms? Her big sister was dead, and she'd been there for like 5 days. Whew. Yeah, I don't know. He got a bit caught up in drama, and I don't think it did him any good. The last time I heard him being talked about was when there was a rumor he was 5'2", and I couldn't stop laughing. Just picturing it. He's actually 6 foot, but the thought of him being 5'2" made me laugh a lot. All right, Grievers. I love you guys. Oh, with hair. Oh my God, Mel. It's still though the fact that they found these little babies and just the hours and hours and hours they've spent trying to remove all that rubble by hand. Syria doesn't have any equipment at all to deal with something like that. None. I mean, they do now. Stuff's been sent in there, but they had nothing. Oh, I'll have to have a look, Mel. But yeah, babies have a better chance to survive than adults under rubble because they can go into some kind of lowered metabolic state. Wow. That's incredible. I didn't know that, Joman. See, you are intelligent. You just taught me something new. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out, whether you're on Tasmania Calling or the Smooth Criminal podcast channel. I appreciate you being with me. Do whack the little thumbs up on the way out. I will continue to defend Dylan, but I'm looking forward to a week of American trials and cases without Tasmania being mentioned. Will it happen? We'll just have to wait and see. Until next time, don't get hit by, don't get struck by the Smooth Criminal. Love you guys.
DJ Globasha. He left the blood stains on the carpet. She ran at the table. He could see she was unable. So she ran into the bedroom. She whispered.